Joe Zekas from Yo Chicago and Phil from Infill.
We're standing on the corner of Fulton Market Street and May Street in the area of Chicago that's called Fulton Market. It's still a wholesale food and provisions neighborhood. In the past 20 years or so, this neighborhood has been transitioning into something that is much more mixed use. There's residential, there's commercial, there's retail, there's nightlife, and there is still all of this wholesale provisions business. And as a result, everybody is sort of uneasy with everybody else's neighbors. So there have been quite a number of set-tos with the powers that be in the neighborhood. But as you see, people use the neighborhood. At any rate, we wanted to show you this block of Fulton Market because it represents something kind of interesting and innovative that actually wasn't executed as well as maybe it might have been. The idea here was to promote a live-work environment along this strip. So right now I can't think of who developed this block. Do you know, Joe?
I don't know.
I do not know. But in any event,
from the looks of the buildings, he doesn't probably want to be known by that.
He probably does not, but or she, depending
she.
upon. Let's not be sexist.
Phil, this is Chicago.
Indeed.
The she's are few and far between.
They are really,
business.
In any event, the idea was that because this is mostly a commercial environment, but people are being encouraged to move as residents into this neighborhood, that somebody develop a series of buildings in which you could have your business on the bottom floor and then live above, as in the old Chicago tradition of living above a tavern or a store. I guess the idea was that these buildings should resemble a traditional Chicago commercial building with flats above. You gotta give them, maybe an E for effort. I don't really know. I mean, not a single one of them actually strikes me as something that is probably the right choice architecturally. Everything really looks like a stage set, particularly the ones with the bowed arched windows and with the protruding terraces that you can imagine nobody's going to use. And so that really you get a sense that this is, even though it's not gauche and garish, this is really a great example of Disney-fied architecture in which you're really putting together a stage set or a theme park.
What should a developer have done here? What would have been better, more in character with the neighborhood?
We should really go over and shoot what I would have thought would have been better here would be something similar to those things that are just being finished over on Lake Street that we'll take a look at maybe a little later. But things that really just look as if they are more industrial in character. Something that would have a presence on the street more like the building that's over my right shoulder now on the corner. Something that, even if they were individual buildings, I think they could have had a character that was just, a little bit more like what's already in the neighborhood. And I'm all for things that, I am really violently opposed to buildings, new buildings that are, specifically built to look old. But there's something about texture and materials and massing and just the general overall kind of sensibility that makes something fit better in a neighborhood than these do. Because these really, I think, speak to someplace else in Chicago. Like, these kinds of buildings are really an allusion to the kind of commercial building you'd see on North Clark Street, where the buildings that were built at the turn of the century, that would be a store on the bottom floor and then 2 stories of apartments or offices above. But there was never anything like that here. There were factories here. So I think that to repeat the neighborhood or to repeat the scale of the neighborhood, you would have been much better off to put up buildings that, you know, have some relation to what's already here.
Well, he met the test of the marketplace, though, Phil. They sold.
I guess they did. I think that they, what I recall is them being empty for quite a while, and I mean, for example, but I do recall they were empty for quite a while. I don't think there was a real easy sell for them, but you're right. You know, I mean, the marketplace speaks, and we listen.
Thumbs up or thumbs down?
I would say thumbs down for these. Yeah.
2 thumbs down or 1 thumbs down?
Gee, I'll give it a half and half.
Half and half.
Yeah, because I really have to applaud the effort, but I think that it was just executed poorly.
Okay, let's move along.